If your actions don't live up to your words, you have nothing to say. Shane Stokes. Let that hit for a second. We live in a world that rewards talking. Social media pushes it. Meetings push it. Even casual conversations reward it. You say you're going to do something, and right away, boom, you get the feedback. That's awesome. Good luck. You've got this. But here's where it breaks down. Talking doesn't change anything. You can share the biggest goal, the perfect plan, the career move you're about to make. But if you stop at words, it's nothing but noise. And noise doesn't build credibility. Noise doesn't build trust. Noise doesn't push your life forward. Talking feels good. You announce a goal. You feel that rush, almost like you've already made progress, but you're just saying it out loud. You haven't done anything more than burn energy. And the more you do it, the more you start to confuse the announcement for the accomplishment. That's the trap. Because when you keep saying what you'll do without following through, people notice. They might not call you out, but they notice. They see the gap between the words you say and what actually shows up in your life. And that's when they stop taking you seriously. Worse, you stop taking yourself seriously. Because deep down, you know your words are not connected to action. And once you lose that internal trust, you're in trouble. That's why it's not about shutting down ambition. It's about shifting the spotlight away from the noise and onto the proof. Less talking, more doing. And when you do, actions leave evidence. Say you value health. That's great. The evidence is in how you train, how you eat, how you take care of yourself. You say you want to be reliable. Then show up on time, prepared, every time. That's the evidence. Words vanish in the air. Actions stick. Think about it. You probably can't remember half the promises people have made to you, but you remember the people who delivered. You remember the ones who showed up, especially when it mattered. That's the difference. Words fade. Actions define you. And actions don't just convince other people. They shape you. Every single time you follow through, you reinforce trust in yourself. You prove to yourself that you can. But every time you skip it, every time you say you'll do something without backing it up, you chip away at your own confidence. There's no neutral ground here. You're either proving to yourself that your words mean something, or you're proving they don't. That inner story that defines who you are, it isn't written by your intentions. It's written by what you do. And that's where discipline comes in. Because action without discipline collapses. Motivation, that's easy. Anybody can act when the mood is right, when energy is fresh, when the spotlight's on. But when it's boring, when nobody's watching, when you're tired and it feels like no one cares, that's where discipline separates you. Discipline is the repetition, the unglamorous grind, the part that doesn't get posted online because it's not flashy. This is why so many people fall off. They confuse planning with progress. They make lists, strategies, curate the perfect plan, and they think they're moving forward, but they're not. Planning is safe. Talking is safe. Doing is risky. Because doing means you might fail. You might look foolish. You might stumble. But that's where growth lives. Not in the noise, not in the plan, in the doing. You learn by doing. You refine by doing. You grow by doing. And until you step into it, nothing changes. Momentum is the hidden engine behind progress. You don't need giant leaps forward. You don't need one massive win to prove yourself. What you need is movement, step after step, small ones, repeated, that create rhythm. And rhythm is powerful because once it's set, it carries you, even when motivation disappears. Think about it. You push yourself one day, just a little. Then the next day, it's easier to do it again and again. Over time, that rhythm takes on a life of its own. It stops being about if you'll do it and becomes when. That's momentum. And that's the best part. Momentum compounds. The more you act, the more trust you build in yourself. The more trust you build, the bigger the risks you're willing to take. And before you even realizing it, you're doing things that used to feel out of reach. Not because you made one giant jump, but because momentum carried you there, step by step. This is where you start to separate yourself from the pack. Because most people quit before momentum takes hold. They do a few steps, don't see immediate results, and they stop. They never give themselves enough time to let momentum carry them. But if you keep going, you become unstoppable. What is the grind? It's not just a routine, but the decision we make to wake up, give everything we've got, then find a way to go further. Grind, spelt GRND, is more than a brand. It's a movement, an emotion we all feel connected to as we work daily to pursue our goals and support each other. Founded by a former Army Ranger, Grind Activewear has a clear mission: to give 100% and then some more. In sport, fitness, and in life. Functional, high-quality performance wear that's rooted in American culture. Because you demand gear that outworks the rest. Whether you're on the field, in the gym, or building your own lane, Grind is for those who refuse to settle. Go check out the Grind Collective, that's the grndcollective.com, and tap into something bigger than clothing. And while you're there, use the promo code TRANSITION15 to get 15% off your purchase. At some point, all of this stacks onto something bigger: your legacy. And no, I don't mean fame. I don't mean some headline about your life. Legacy is the mark you leave on people and situations. It's the story they tell about you after you're gone, or even right after you've walked out of the room. A legacy built on words, all by themselves, is weak. It fades fast. People forget what you said. But a legacy built on consistent action, that's different. That has weight. It has staying power. People remember the times you delivered. They remember how you showed up, how you followed through, how you carried yourself when it counted. That becomes your reputation. And eventually, it becomes your story. This applies everywhere. As a leader, your legacy is the culture you shaped by example. As a parent, your legacy is the habits and values your kids watch you live every day. As a peer, your legacy is the trust you earned because you kept your commitments. Every choice you make today writes a line of that story. And here's something important. Legacy isn't built on perfection. Nobody gets it right all the time. Everyone makes mistakes. Everyone stumbles. Everybody falls short. What matters is that you don't quit, that you make corrections, that you improve, and that you keep showing up. People respect honesty. They respect resilience. They respect consistency, far more than they respect some baseless words. When the noise fades, when the words are forgotten, the story that remains is the one written by your actions. So here's the takeaway. Words matter, but without action, they're just noise. If you want credibility, if you want growth, if you want peace of mind, then focus on proof. Do more, talk less. However, this isn't about being silent. It's about being real. Let your life show your values. Trade the illusion of progress for the reality of it. Anchor your identity in action, not in talk. Today, pick one place in your life where your words have been louder than your actions. Then act. Take the step. No matter how small. Let that step build into momentum. Let that momentum shape your identity. And let that identity become the legacy you leave behind. Because in the end, the world will likely forget what you said, but it will never forget what you did. As always, thank you for spending a few minutes with me. Until next time, stay sharp, stay grounded, and keep showing up.